Never taking an avoidant back is not about pride or punishment, it is about survival, because when someone shows you certain behaviors, they are not mistakes, they are warnings, and ignoring them slowly teaches your nervous system to live in fear, confusion, and self-abandonment. And the truth most people don't want to hear is that love does not destroy your sense of self unless you keep letting the wrong person return with the same patterns wearing a new apology, because an avoidant who truly wants change does not repeat the same damage while asking for more chances, and if they do these things, taking them back is not hope, it is self-betrayal, because the first thing they do is disappear emotionally when things get real, not once, not twice, but consistently. They pull away the moment intimacy requires accountability, and they call it needing space, needing time, needing clarity, but what they really mean is they need distance from responsibility, and each time you accept them back after this behavior, you teach them that love does not require consistency, that you will adjust your needs to fit their fear, and slowly you stop asking for reassurance, stop expressing pain, stop expecting effort, and the relationship becomes one-sided while they stay comfortable in control. Because the second thing they do is come back only when they feel lonely or threatened, not because they miss you as a person, but because their ego feels unsafe without your emotional availability. And they return with soft words, nostalgia, regret, and promises that sound sincere, but their timing always reveals the truth. They reach out when you are healing, when you are moving forward, when they sense you slipping away, and the moment they feel secure again, the same distance returns. And this cycle conditions you to associate love with anxiety, waiting, and uncertainty, and that is not romance. That is emotional dependency disguised as attachment, because the third thing they do is invalidate your pain while asking for understanding for theirs. They want empathy for their trauma, their past, their fears, but when you express how their actions hurt you, they minimize it, dismiss it, or turn it into an argument about how sensitive you are, how demanding you are, how nothing they do is ever enough, and over time you start doubting your own emotional reality. You begin to wonder if you are asking for too much when in reality you are asking for the bare minimum, and taking them back after this teaches them that they never have to fully acknowledge the impact of their behavior, because you will eventually move past it without real repair. And the fourth thing they do is promise change without showing sustained action. They say they are working on themselves, they say they understand now. They say they don't want to lose you again, but change with avoidance is not measured by words, it is measured by consistency over time, by how they show up when it is uncomfortable, when conflict arises, when vulnerability is required, and if every reunion looks emotionally intense at first and slowly fades back into distance, silence, and defensiveness, then what you are witnessing is not growth, it is familiarity, and familiarity feels safe even when it hurts. And each time you accept empty promises, you train yourself to believe potential matters more than reality. And the fifth thing they do is make you feel like loving them is something you have to earn, like if you are calmer, more patient, less emotional, less needy, then they will finally stay. And this is the most dangerous pattern of all, because it slowly reshapes your identity. You stop being yourself and start performing a version of you that feels safer for them, and love that requires self-erasure is not love. It is emotional negotiation, and when you take an avoidant back after all of this, you are not choosing them, you are choosing the hope that one day they will become someone else, and hope can be beautiful, but when it is unsupported by action, it becomes a trap, because the truth is, avoidants do not change because you love them harder, they change when they choose discomfort over control, when they take full responsibility without being chased, convinced, or reassured, and if they return without doing the internal work, without therapy, without consistent effort, without respecting your boundaries, then taking them back only delays the inevitable lesson. Because the relationship does not end when you walk away, it ends when you stop believing that your needs are optional, and this is where part 1 ends, not with anger, not with revenge, but with awareness, because awareness is the moment you stop negotiating your worth and start protecting your peace, and once you see these patterns clearly, you can never unsee them. And the question is no longer whether they will change, but whether you are willing to keep changing yourself to stay with someone who has already shown you who they are. Part 2 begins where clarity replaces hope, because once you see the pattern, you start noticing how taking an avoidant back always comes with a silent cost, a cost paid in self-doubt, emotional exhaustion, and the constant feeling of waiting for someone who is technically present but emotionally unavailable. And the reason this hurts so deeply is because avoidants rarely leave loudly, they stay half attached, half committed, just enough to keep you invested while never fully choosing you. And when they return, they often frame it as fate, timing, or unfinished connection. But real connection does not require repeated abandonment to feel meaningful, because if someone truly values you, they do not risk losing you repeatedly just to feel in control of their own fear. And one of the most painful realizations is understanding that the version of them you love only appears during reconnection, during apology phases, during moments when they sense loss, but disappears the moment stability returns. And loving someone who only shows up when they are afraid of losing you teaches your nervous system to stay in survival mode, constantly scanning for signs of withdrawal, silence, or emotional shutdown. And this is why taking them back again feels different each time, not hopeful, but heavy, because deep down you already know the ending, and yet you still want to believe this time will be different. But what makes it different is not how emotional their apology is, it is how they behave when they are triggered, challenged, or asked to be consistent. And avoidants who have not healed will always choose emotional distance over emotional responsibility, and they will call it self-protection, independence, or needing peace, while you are left managing the emotional weight of the relationship alone. And another truth people avoid admitting is that an avoidant coming back does not always mean love. Sometimes it means comfort, familiarity, or fear of being alone. And if they return without acknowledging how deeply they hurt you, without allowing you to express anger, grief, and disappointment safely, then what they want is access to you, not repair with you. And access without accountability always leads to the same outcome, because you cannot build a secure bond with someone who only engages when it benefits their emotional state. And the more chances you give, the more the dynamic shifts, because now the relationship is no longer about mutual effort, it is about whether you will tolerate the same behavior again. And eventually you stop asking if they will change and start asking how much longer you can endure. And that is the moment love quietly turns into endurance. And relationships are not meant to be survived, they are meant to be lived. And choosing not to take an avoidant back after they show you these patterns is not bitterness, it is boundaries, it is self-respect. It is the decision to stop confusing emotional intensity with emotional safety. And the hardest part of walking away is not missing them, it is grieving the future you imagined with the version of them that only existed in moments of loss. But grief is cleaner than chaos, and loneliness is quieter than constant emotional uncertainty. And when you finally choose yourself, something shifts. You stop waiting for texts that may never come, you stop analyzing tone, silence, and distance, and your body slowly learns what calm feels like again. And this is how you know you made the right choice. Not because it didn't hurt, but because your nervous system finally feels safe. And the truth is, the right person will not need to lose you to value you, will not need space to choose you, and will not return only when they are afraid. They will stay, consistently, willingly, and fully. And when that happens, you will understand that walking away from the wrong person was not the end of love. It was the beginning of self-respect, and that realization is the real closure you were searching for all along.